Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with a cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration, feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Rage is like a weed.
Ladies and gents, I am the one and only DJ Storms. I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel and the Twitch stream and the YouTube stream and the Facebook stream. We are sitting here on a Monday afternoon. I am off of work and I have taken upon the obligation of streaming because we are talking about one hell of a fucking pro wrestling event that took place last night from Canada as New Japan Pro Wrestling and All Elite Wrestling, they merged once again for the second annual Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Of course, many of you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the official rewind for AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door 2023, which of course streamed live, like I said, on pay-per-view and Bleacher Report from Canada, with the 0-hour pre-show starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. No guest today. I am flying solo on this excursion, considering that Mondays are rather a busy day, and a lot of people are either still at work, or if you're not at work and you're relaxing at home, you just want to take a day to yourself and not do anything and stay in bed and drink a cold beverage and eat some nice food, watch TV, whatever it may be. I am flying solo here, and we got a lot to get into here on the Rewind. Forbidden Door 2023. I knew for a fact that we were going to get some quality pro wrestling, but I am rather shocked. I did not believe that it was going to be as good as it was. I knew it was going to be great, but my expectations were completely blown out of the water, completely blown through the fucking roof. Everything from the 0 hour all the way to the main event, everything just flowed very nicely. You know, there were even some complaints, not even bullshitting you. There were even some complaints that the show was going too long. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'm not sure what everyone else was watching, but this show fucking flew by to me. It didn't drag at all. It didn't feel long. It didn't feel like anything. This show fucking flew by quicker than I could have ever fucking expected. It's like I blinked and we were already halfway through the show, and then Omega and Ospreay was coming around, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm looking at the match card, and I'm like, holy shit, we only got 2 more matches after this. Not really sure who felt like it was long, but this show flew by to me. And hell, if you're going to give us a 4-hour pro wrestling show, a 5-hour pro wrestling show, if you show the 0 hour as well, and you combine that with the 4 hours on the main show, I mean, give us a pro wrestling show like that. Bro, give us a pro wrestling show like that. I almost can't even get the words out. The level of talent that was on this show, and for those of you that aren't familiar with New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling has got some of the best pro wrestlers on the planet. Some of these pro wrestlers I was seeing for the very first time ever, and I was actually impressed with some of them. Some of them including Sonata. This was actually my first time seeing Sonata, one of my first times actually seeing Naito, some of my first times seeing a lot of individuals. couple of people from Los Ingobernables of Japan, people like that. United Empire has always been great. El Desperado's always been great. A lot of great talent from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They met with AEW. And it was one hell of a pro wrestling show. Dare I say, it may have been better than Revolution. AEW Revolution this year set the bar for pay-per-views. That was probably AEW's best show to date. But Tony Khan, he's always looking to top himself. He's always looking to outdo himself. And he combined with New Japan Pro Wrestling. This may have been one of the best shows under Tony Khan's name ever. I don't even have enough words in the English dictionary to describe the level of emotion that the crowd poured into the show, especially Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. I mean, holy shit. I'm going to be battling with myself all year. When it comes time to do the top 10 matches of 2023. I'm going to be battling with myself all year about what I should choose as number one. Do I choose Bryan Danielson and MJF in the Iron Man match at Revolution, or do I choose Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States Championship at Forbidden Door? I don't fucking know. I'm currently at war with myself right now, and it's only been 24 hours. Not even 24 hours. I actually need to take a fucking sip of my water. If there is one match on this show that I would highly encourage everyone to go out of your way to watch, Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Go out of your way to watch Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Absolutely fucking unbelievable. I have been an advocate for Kenny Omega forever. And yes, James Puniseka, I see you. You need to watch Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. For those of you that saw the match back in January between Ospreay and Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome, if you saw that in the Tokyo Dome, I'm telling you, this match completely fucking blew it out of the water. Absolutely fucking unbelievable match. 40 minutes. And these two individuals, I don't even know how Kenny Omega is still alive after that Tiger Driver 91 that Will Ospreay delivered to Omega, dropping him right on his fucking head. Now, Bryan and Okada, they main evented the show. Not as good as Omega and Will Ospreay, but Bryan and Okada still put on a great wrestling match with perhaps the shocker of the year. We thought that Cody Rhodes losing to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, we thought that was shocking. To me, one of the biggest shockers of the year, Bryan Danielson tapped out Kazuchika Okada in the main event of Forbidden Door. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be discussing a lot of things. We will be discussing every single match that took place, a stacked 13-match card, 9 matches on the main show specifically. We will be going over everything. Before we go over everything, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you follow me on social media. Follow me on both Twitter and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. Once again, that is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on Twitter and Instagram. You can add me on Facebook as well for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Please make sure that you like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all those links are in the description, as well as the links to my friend Brittany K's social media links. She is awesome. She is a big-time supporter and a big-time advocate of the channel and the brand. Good friend of mine as well. She does handcrafted designs of superstars and or celebrities from scratch on her iPad. Beautiful designs, beautiful drawings. She has a skill unlike anyone that I've seen. She is fantastic. So if you want yourself some of these beautifully crafted designs and pictures of professional wrestlers and celebrities. If you need new Twitter abbeys, if you need new Twitter banners, please go and check her out. Her Twitter is at BrittanyK5150, and her Instagram is at BrittanyK Designs. Both those links are in the description. On Thursday, I am back again. We got Maniac Monday right now, and then we are turning up on a Thursday, this Thursday, June 29th, with my man Little Stevie. He's coming on the channel for the rundown for WWE Money in the Bank 2023. That is live this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, we got the LFU. That's going to be a little bit earlier this Saturday because we got Money in the Bank this Saturday, July 1st. It's starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be live. I don't really have an issue with that because let's be real. The UK crowd is probably one of the best crowds, if not the best crowd that you could possibly have in pro wrestling, minus Chicago. And then on Sunday, July 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, my main man, Mac, the Giants fan, he's going to be coming back on the channel for the rewind for Money in the Bank. July is going to be a big month too because we also got Death Before Dishonor coming to us from Trenton, New Jersey. Unfortunately, I will not be here because I will be traveling to Austin, Texas for my cousin's bachelor party. So please look out for the rundown for Death Before Dishonor with my main man, Jay Aletto. That's going to be the night before on July 20th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Hula Grim's coming back to the channel. You saw Hula Grim with me this past Thursday for the rundown for Forbidden Door. He's going to be coming back on the channel for the rewind for Death Before Dishonor. That is on Tuesday, July 25th, 2023, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, we got ourselves the Great American Bash on NXT side of things. I will be doing a rundown and a rewind for that. I will be announcing the dates and the times as we get closer to the event. But, of course, if you're keeping up to when I set up my streams, you already know what time and what dates those streams will be on. But until then, thank you all for joining. Thank you to Billy. Thank you to Dee Dee. Thank you to Mr. James Punaseca. Thank you very much to Paul, a.k.a. The Shooter. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, to hit the like button, whether you're watching on Facebook, the Facebook group, DJ Storm's Posse Facebook group, my personal Facebook, or the Twitter at Hardcore Sports _ or my Twitter at HistoryMakerDJS, or the Hardcore Sports Twitch at Hardcore Sports 1, or Hardcore Sports YouTube channel or my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to Hardcore Sports. We are over 730 subs, and we're looking to be the #1 brand in all of sports analytics, whether it be for UFC, WWE, AEW, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, everything. Please make sure that you are subscribed to Hardcore Sports. That way you will know whenever we are streaming live to do watch-alongs and give our thoughts, our analytical takes, our stances, our opinions on everything going on in the realm of professional sports. Of course, please make sure that you share the stream out on all platforms of social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using, so that way we get a nice wide outreach. I realize it's a Monday and not many people are free on Mondays, but we want to get as many people in here as we possibly can because everyone's got to hear what I got to say regarding Forbidden Door. We have a lot to get into, and I'm extremely excited to talk about this show, seeing at how good it really was. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button for my channel and the Hardcore Sports channel, and of course, hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. You know why? Because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. You know why? It's because it's the only time that you will get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here, this beautifully crafted mustache right here. Now we're going to bring out this beautifully crafted Ace black comb, crafted by the gods of combs, and we're going to light it up right here on the stream on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of Because like freshly cut boar's head cold cuts on a nice fluffy Italian roll. Oh, I am just so good. I am the tastiest snack in the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Storm's Meister. Let me fix up this pompadour right here. I mean, take a look. Take a look at how fucking great that pompadour is. No gray hairs whatsoever. Now then, enough of the self-brand promotion, the advertisements. Why don't we get straight into the show here? We got 0 Hour. 0 Hour. There were 4 matches on 0 Hour. Not something that I would have done, but then again, this is Tony Khan, and you got to get a lot of the New Japan Pro Wrestling talent on the show. I understand it is what it is. Regardless, we did get a very good 0 Hour for what it was. We had a lot of pro wrestling on the 0 Hour, actually. We had Chaos. This is Rocky Romero, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and El Desperado. They took on the Mogul Embassy. This is Bishop Khan, Toa Leona, Brian Cage, and Swerve Strickland. And this was good. It was good. But I feel as though we've kind of seen this match a bunch of times to know what we're going to expect. It was never going to be bad. Never going to be bad. But again, we've seen it before. It's just 4 wrestlers, 4 great wrestlers going in there and doing what they do best with another set of 4 wrestlers, one quartet and another quartet that they've been tied up with each other. The only difference is now we're adding El Desperado to the mix. And that was pretty much that. Good match nonetheless, but we've seen it time and time again. So the babyfaces were in control early on. We had a suicide dive by Rocky Romero, Cannonball Senton by Desperado, Tope Con Hero by Chuck Taylor, and then a beautiful moonsault by Trent Beretta. We had Leona taking over with a big Samoan drop on Trent. Trent was isolated. We had a nice brainbuster by Swerve. Death Valley Driver on the apron to Trent, so they were bringing the heavy guns here. No rest for the weary for Trent. Trent's taking some bumps, especially after he went through spinal stenosis treatment, and he's taking all these fucking bumps. Spinal stenosis, and he's taking fucking Death Valley Drivers on the apron. So Trent finally made the tag to Desperado. He lit up Swerve. Nice spine buster for a 2. He was trying to fight off everyone in the Mogul Embassy. We had a back suplex on Swerve, seesaw powerbomb by the Embassy, and a house call by Swerve, and Rocky Romero was able to save it. We had the standing sliced bread on Swerve, gutbuster by Khan, stuff pile driver by Taylor. Everyone just started getting their shit in here. DDT by Trent on Leona, pump handle gourd buster by Cage, Hurricane Rana by Romero. Swerve accidentally kneed Cage, and the best friends hit strong 0, but Bishop Khan was able to save it. Cage, then with an F5, Swerve caught Romero coming off of the F5 into a cutter, which looked very nice. Cage and the rest of the Embassy then kept the best friends at bay, and Romero was on the receiving end of a Swerve stomp, and Swerve gets the win for the Mogul Embassy, 1, 2, 3, in what was a decent little 8-man tag. And this was the right outcome. Mogul Embassy needed a win, and the Mogul Embassy got a win. More Swerve on TV, please. More Swerve on TV. Swerve Strickland, he may be on the receiving end of a lot of losses this year, but Swerve Strickland has really been a breakout performer this year. He's been putting on great matches with everyone, no matter who he steps into the ring with, whether it be Cassidy or Tanahashi or Romero or Dustin Rhodes. No matter who he steps into the ring with, Swerve always puts on a decent match. And you know what? I respect that about Swerve. I don't really know where he fits in, outside of possibly taking the international title off of Orange Cassidy, which I don't see it happening. I don't see that happening. But, if anything, We could possibly see him on Ring of Honor. I would not mind seeing him on Ring of Honor. He could do some damage in Ring of Honor. He would be a great challenger for Eddie Kingston after Kingston beats Claudio for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title. Maybe he fights Mark Briscoe for the World Television title. Maybe he fights Shibata. Maybe he's the one to beat Shibata for the Ring of Honor Pure title. I wouldn't mind it. And then every member of the Embassy is champions. I don't know. It's very, very hard to slot Swerve Strickland into anything because MJF clearly isn't losing the world title. Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, they're going to do their thing with the TNT title. He's not in a tag team. And Orange Cassidy, he's doing God's work with the International Championship. If anything, I see Miro taking that title off of Orange Cassidy. I don't know, maybe Ring of Honor would be best for Swerve. There's a lot of people that would benefit from Ring of Honor. Wardlow could benefit from Ring of Honor. Swerve could benefit from Ring of Honor. Keith Lee could benefit from Ring of Honor. I'm not really sure how they're going to map that out, seeing as Tony Khan is pretty much operating everything. So he's running himself dry. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but right outcome, and I want to see more Swerve on TV. Billy Starks versus Athena. This is the first round of the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. If you watched the last couple of AEW shows on Rampage, it was Sky Blue that advanced over Anna Jay in a match that was a lot better than expected. So I give props to both women there. Willow Nightingale, she is having one hell of a year. She recently advanced in the Owen Hart Cup tournament over Nyla Rose. She got Nyla Rose up for a pretty impressive looking Dr. Bomb. And now we got Billy Starks and Athena. Athena, who I have been very, very vocal about. Athena right now is the best women's champion out of any wrestling promotion. Do not fucking at me. Do not at me. In a realm where heels tend to cower away and do everything to avoid competition, Athena, she's taken along sort of a Ryback type of gimmick where she's like, give me more. Give me every single woman that you can find and I will fucking break them in the ring and I will leave them in a pile of their own bones. Give me more women to fight so that way I can embarrass them. And it's fucking great. I love it. Athena's been fucking awesome. Truth be told, I don't know if she's ever fucking losing that title. I would almost be dead shocked if Willow Nightingale ends up beating Athena. Even though Willow is a favorite of mine to get to the finals, I would be shocked if Athena does not win against Willow whenever that match takes place. But Billy Starks, I've seen her on Ring of Honor a couple times, and Billy Starks, she's only 18 years old. 18 years old is Billy Starks, and it's like she's been wrestling for 5 years. I don't know how the fuck Billy Stark is this good at 18 years old. When did she start training? 14, 15? Billy Stark ain't half bad whatsoever. She had a very nice showing on Ring of Honor a couple times, and here she had a pretty decent little showing against Athena. Obviously, this was a one-way track. There was no way Athena was losing this, but I appreciate the fact that Tony Khan is giving opportunities to the younger talent, and they're capitalizing on it. Billy Stark capitalized on this very, very much so, and she had a very solid showing against Athena here. Obviously, we all know who was going to win, but it was still a nice showcase for Billy Starks, and in the end, in about 5 years, I do believe Billy Starks is going to be something. You see where Sky Blue is right now? I believe where Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale are right now, I think that Billy Starks is going to follow in their footsteps. Billy Starks is going to be something. So Starks came in with a nice spin kick on Athena and a knee drop brainbuster. Athena took over. Athena was just reveling in her handiwork. Starks was caught with a big punch by Athena. Athena just rocked Starks. Starks then caught Athena with a kick coming off the top and a Death Valley driver for a 2. Both women were on the top buckle, and Athena with a very nice Hurricane Rana off the buckle, pop-up powerbomb, and a super kick. Starks kicked out. Starks then with a drop kick. Athena with a drop kick. They were trading drop kicks back and forth. Athena was then on the apron, and Starks went for a swanton bomb on the apron, and Athena moved. Starks crashed and burned, completely fucking destroyed her spine. Starks was then rolled back into the ring, and Athena had Starks in a Canadian backbreaker type position, and she rolled through. She rolled through into a codebreaker like maneuver, and Athena ended up getting the victory 1, 2, 3 as expected. I'm a little disappointed that we did not see the O-Face, because the O-Face is probably my favorite female finisher that we have right now. The O-Face is just done with such precision. I don't think I've ever seen Athena botch that move. Absolutely fucking great. Athena gets the victory, and my God, my fucking God, is Athena fucking flawless. That woman can do no wrong. She has been my favorite women's wrestler since that match with Asuka at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3 in 2017. Athena is absolutely fucking untouchable. I truthfully don't think she's ever going to fucking lose that Ring of Honor Women's Championship. I can't believe it took her this long. Can you imagine being WWE and looking at the work that Athena is doing now? How is WWE not fucking kicking themselves for letting this woman go after everything that this woman has put forth since her debut in AEW? She's only been there a fucking year. Barely even 12, 13, 14 months. And already, she has morphed herself into the best women's wrestler under Tony Khan's watch. No matter how you fucking look at it, Athena is here and everyone else is playing catch-up. That's how good Athena is. And Starks, she will be something, but Athena, she's the woman right now. She's the woman to beat, and she will be going up against Willow Nightingale in the semifinals. And if you guys remember, on Ring of Honor television, Athena brought Willow Nightingale to the match of her life on Honor Club. That match went about 16, 17 minutes. Fucking phenomenal match. Absolutely phenomenal match. It was Willow Nightingale's best match to date, and I truthfully believe that Athena's going to do it again. Just watch. Just watch. El Phantasmo. El Phantasmo. He took on Stu Grayson. Stu Grayson is with the Righteous. This is Vincent and Dutch. I'm not really sure why they broke Stu Grayson away from the Dark Order. I don't really know why he's with the Righteous, but they look good together. They look good together. And Phantasmo, let me tell you something. Phantasmo, he impressed the shit out of me last year at Forbidden Door. Last year, he was a part of Bullet Club. He has been since kicked out. This match went barely 8 minutes, barely 9 minutes, but holy shit, was this good. This was probably the best match on 0 Hour. I don't know what it is, but this match had no right to be as good as it was. For an 8-minute match, a 9-minute match, this was damn fucking good. This was damn fucking good, and let me tell you something. Phantasmo, I'm a little spoiled, and we as wrestling fans are spoiled, especially by AEW and how great their pro wrestling product is every week. I would fucking love to see Phantasmo under Tony Khan's watch. I would love to see him under WWE's watch too, because he's fucking awesome. Same thing with Stu Grayson, but WWE fucking sucks dick. WWE don't know how to fucking book their talent, no matter what. If it's not Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Seth Rollins, then you're pretty much worthless to them. But this was a great match. For 9 minutes, this was a great match. Grayson's offense. Grayson probably is the individual with the most underrated offense in all of AEW right now. Grayson's offense is just so fucking crisp. So Grayson with a spinning side slam on Phantasmo. Grayson and Phantasmo had a chop off. Grayson caught Phantasmo with a V-trigger and a tope atomico on the apron. Springboard crossbody by Phantasmo and a tope suicida. We had a springboard swanton bomb and a lion salt by Phantasmo for a 2. Grayson with a uranagi and a fireman's carry gourd buster for a 2. Phantasmo with a fucking beautiful Hurricane Rana off the top and a big splash off the top for a 2. Grayson kicked out. Grayson with a Pele kick and a picture perfect, probably one of the best looking 450s out there. Beautiful 450 by Grayson. I thought he had him. Phantasmo kicked out. Phantasmo then with a springboard tornado DDT and a tribute to Claudio with the Gotch-style neutralizer, and El Phantasmo wins. I was actually very happy to see Phantasmo get the victory here. Phantasmo's great, and I want to see more of El Phantasmo. Phantasmo and Grayson, 9-minute match, but it was fucking awesome. And if there's one match on the 0 hour that I would highly encourage you go back and rewatch El Phantasmo versus Stu Grayson. That was fucking awesome. United Empire. This is TJP, Kyle Fletcher, and Jeff Cobb. They took on Los Ingobernables de Japón, which means the ungovernables of Japan. This was Shingo, Bushi, and Hiromu Takahashi. And Hiromu Takahashi, he actually had one of my favorite matches in the last couple of years with Will Ospreay back at Wrestle Kingdom. I believe it was Wrestle Kingdom 2020. I believe it was for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Back when Will Ospreay was fighting the cruiserweights of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that was a fucking fantastic match. That match was the match that made me a fan of Will Ospreay. So Takahashi was lighting up United Empire before Fletcher and Shingo. They traded some strikes back and forth. TJP then with a flying forearm for a 2. Sidewinder suplex by Cobb. Diving splash by TJP. That got a 2. Pop-up Death Valley driver by Shingo. Big lariat on TJP. Cobb saved it. We had a drop kick by Takahashi. Tope Suicida by Bushi. We had a super kick by TJP. And Shingo ended up winning it for his team. Shingo won it with the Made in Japan, which is a pump handle driver. Made in Japan by Shingo. And Shingo, Bushi, and Takahashi take the win here on the final match of the 0 hour. Fun little match right here. I didn't really mind it, but it was probably the weakest match on the show. At least the 0 hour portion of the show. And in the end, this just made me want to see United Empire even more. United Empire, let me tell you something. The more I see United Empire, the more and more I become a fan of United Empire. United Empire is fucking awesome. United Empire, they could legitimately stand toe-to-toe with any fucking faction that you put them with in the world of pro wrestling today. Put them against the Judgment Day, put them against Imperium, put them against Latino World Order, put them against the Elite, put them against the House of Black, put them against anyone. Put them against Bullet Club Gold, put them against CMFTR, put them against anyone, and they will have one hell of a fucking match. I want to see a match with the House of Black. Give me Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and Jeff Cobb versus Malachi Brody and Buddy. That's what I want. That's what I want. Main show. After a fun little 0 hour show, we get into the real meat and potatoes of the show. We got ourselves Maxwell, Jacob Friedman, MJF defending the All Elite Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship against the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Tanahashi clearly is not what he used to be. Tanahashi is a little bit older. He's 46. He's a little bit weak in the knees. He's a little bit slow. He's a step or two behind. He had a banger with Moxley last year, but clearly he is not up to code to what he once was. Regardless of that, in the end, we got ourselves a very good match. And one thing I want to point out is MJF. This match, while it was very good, it was a very laid out match, a very old school, very classic pro wrestling match. It was probably MJF's weakest match this year, but in the end, this should be looked at as nothing more than a win. And you know why? It's because MJF went out there and he showcased to you that he could legitimately work with anyone. You put him in the ring with anyone. It doesn't matter who the fuck it is. You could put him in there with Tanahashi. You could put him in there with Takeshita. You could put him in there with fucking Adam Cole. You could fucking put him in there with Danhausen for all we care. MJF showcased to everyone how good he really is in this match with Tanahashi. It's easy to put on a match with a guy like Adam Cole or a guy like CM Punk or a guy like Bryan Danielson, guys like that who are still in the prime of their career and they can still operate at a high level. Tanahashi, with him being a step or two behind, him being a lot more slower than what he used to be, and him hurting a little bit. Obviously, he's up there in age, but MJF went in there. MJF went in there and he showcased to you that you can put him with anyone and he will ultimately bring them to a great match, no matter who it is. And at 27 years old, MJF has already established himself as one of the best, the top tier in-ring leaders of our generation. He's up there with Rollins, he's up there with Roman, he's up there with Bryan, he's up there with Moxley, he's up there with Punk. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the top in-ring leaders in pro wrestling today. He is a fucking professional. And that is to be respected. MJF, he came off like an absolute fucking professional. He protected Tanahashi. He cared for him very well. He controlled the pace of the match. And Tanahashi, I will give credit to Tanahashi, even at his age, he still moved around pretty decently in this match. Not what he used to be, like I said, because he is hurting and he's up there in age. He's only 46. But this was a smart move to put it on at number 1. Smart move to put it on as the first match on the main show. Both men came off very well, and it was a very good, very old school, very classic pro wrestling match, and it ultimately ended up being a solid way to kick off the show. So I can't really complain about that. MJF is fucking great. On the back of MJF's robe, it said, New Japan is an indie. Fucking great. We all know it's not an indie, but I mean, holy shit, MJF, he is a fucking stud. So, crowd was hot, chanting for both men. MJF then used the ref as a shield. He took over quick. MJF then grabbed the ropes to aid the abdominal stretch. And Tanahashi, he was in pain. Bryce Remsburg then kicked the arm off of the ropes. Tanahashi started to mount the comeback with a rolling senton off the middle rope and a flying crossbody on MJF. Tanahashi then with a sling blade for a 2. MJF superplexed to Tanahashi. MJF then got a 2. MJF with a rolling elbow and a shoulder breaker, but MJF sold the injured knee. So MJF's knee was a part of the story in this match, and Tanahashi's midsection was the story in this match. So MJF sold the knee. MJF then trashed Tanahashi, and the crowd was trying to get Tanahashi hyped up. MJF with an eye poke. Classic MJF. Tanahashi then caught MJF with a dragon screw, and then he locked in the Texas Cloverleaf. MJF got to the ropes. Tanahashi with a twisting neck breaker. Sling blade again. He went for the high fly flow, which is the frog splash that he does. He went for high fly flow, and MJF got the knees up. He sold the knee again. MJF then grabbed the title. Bryce Remsburg took it from him. Tanahashi rolled up MJF, but Bryce didn't see it until last second. Then the referee was cornered by Tanahashi. Tanahashi was shoved into the ref. MJF with the dynamite diamond ring right behind the referee's back. Classic MJF. MJF pinned Tanahashi 1, 2, 3. And MJF retains the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It went about 15 minutes, 16 minutes. Very well laid out. Very old school. Both men were protected. Both men looked very good in the end. And it was the perfect way to kick off the show and the perfect way for Tanahashi to get on the show. It was great. It was awesome. No complaints. No complaints whatsoever. And MJF, like I said, fucking professional. He is a fucking professional, and everyone should acknowledge that. He is undoubtedly one of the best in-ring leaders that we have in pro wrestling right now. Think about that. Think about that. 6 months into 2023. If MJF is not your wrestler of the year, you should not be talking about pro wrestling. MJF is the wrestler of the year, hands down. Everything that he has done this year has been absolutely fucking flawless. Even this match with Tanahashi, perfectly laid out, and it showcased to everyone just how professional MJF is. Hiroshi Tanahashi, the Pillars 4-Way, Bryan Danielson, Konosuke Takeshita, Adam Cole. Every single individual has been having their best matches all year because of MJF. CM Punk. He took on Satoshi Kojima. First round of the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament. A lot of people were going to be watching this match under a microscope because they were interested in seeing how well Punk would favor after 10 months away. He's only had 2 matches since he's been back, and they were both multi-man tag team matches. So, a lot of people were going to be watching this match closely, and in the end, this match did not disappoint. This match did not disappoint whatsoever, and if anything, this match could be looked at as a match that was actually better than the first match. This match was better than MJF and Hiroshi Tanahashi. And it's a very, very, very symbolic meaning to be kicking off the show with MJF, and then right after MJF, it's a CM Punk match. That's a little tidbit of a hint for everyone out there. MJF and Punk's going to be your match in Chicago. And MJF is going to finally close the book on the rivalry with Punk, and MJF is going to beat Punk in Chicago for the second time. It's going to be big. It's going to be big, and I'm going to fucking love it. Satoshi Kojima, he's no slouch in his own right. When Satoshi Kojima goes in there, he goes in there to fucking hit you. He goes in there to fucking hit you, and he indeed went in there to fucking hit you. Even though it was predictable, this was still a very good match, a very hard-hitting match, and both men carried themselves very, very nicely here. This went about 14 minutes, and both men brought it. Kojima was in early control. Crowd was cheering loudly for him. They were booing the shit out of CM Punk. Punk was actually booted over the barricade into the timekeeper's area, and the crowd was heavily behind Kojima. Punk, being the fucking dickhead that he is, even though he's a fucking liberal cuck, he's fucking great. Punk, like a fucking dickhead, he starts doing Hulk Hogan's pose, and he did the Hulk Hogan leg drop to a chorus of boos. Both men started trading chops back and forth. We had a back suplex by Punk. Kojima kicked out. Crowd was just laying it into Punk, chanting, "Fuck you, Punk," and they were giving him middle fingers, and they were fucking giving him thumbs down, booing the shit out of him. We had some machine gun chops by Kojima over and over and over again, right to the chest. Punk then with a high knee and a clothesline. Punk went up to the top. He looked to the crowd booed. And CM Punk with the Macho Man elbow drop to Kojima. That got a 2 count. He locked in the Anaconda Vice. It was in deep. Kojima with punches to the back of Punk's head to get out of it. And then Kojima and Punk traded Mongolian chops. Kojima then with the Koji cutter. Kojima, he was going for another big move, but he was caught. He was caught with the swinging neck breaker. And Kojima, I believe he was going for that Koji lariat that he does, which is one of his finishing maneuvers. Punk caught him with a swinging neck breaker. Punk went for the go to sleep, but it was reversed into a brain buster. Punk just kicked out. Punk then with a roundhouse kick. Punk hit the GTS, and Punk wins 1-2-3. Punk advances to the Owen Hart Cup Tournament semifinals to take on either Roderick Strong or Samoa Joe, and I am very much looking forward to seeing what Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe produce, because that's going to be one hard-hitting fucking match. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be fucking great. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. If you guys watch closely, you guys have been watching closely and seeing how Punk has been carrying himself and what he does, I truthfully believe that we are on the verge of something special here, especially with CM Punk. Punk knows that the crowd is going to be hostile towards him, outside of the fact that when he's in Chicago, he's going to be cheered like he's fucking Jesus Christ himself. But CM Punk and the way that he handled himself in this match and the way that he's working the crowd and the way that he's just coming off and the way that he's manipulating the crowd to swing against him, and whoever fights him is ultimately going to become the biggest babyface. With everything that's going on with Punk right now and what we saw in this match with Kojima, I am not even exaggerating. We could be on the verge of the best version of CM Punk that we've seen in AEW thus far. Can you imagine when we finally get the ball rolling with this Elite versus CM Punk program and we're in the thick of things? CM Punk could very well become the best heel in the business. He's going to overtake Roman and he's going to overtake MJF. What we could get with CM Punk, it's going to be something very, very special. From there, we go into the AEW International Heavyweight Championship match. This is Orange Cassidy, who right now is one of the MVPs of AEW. He's been one of the MVPs of AEW all year. Daniel Garcia, who I would be lying to you if I told you that I don't do the fucking Daniel Garcia dance. I think it's fucking great. I don't know why he does it. I don't know where the fuck it came from, but it's fucking entertaining. Katsuyori Shibata, who is the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. And then we got Zack Sabre Jr., the New Japan Pro Wrestling Television Champion. AEW International Championship. And this was fucking great. This, up to this point, after this match was over, this was the best match of the night thus far. Up until we got the 10-man tag. This was fucking awesome. I mean, how could it not be? Shibata's great. Sabre is great. Boring at times because all he does is fucking wrist locks and fucking knee bars and arm bars and chin locks and fucking leg locks. But he's very good. Daniel Garcia is entertaining as shit. And Orange Cassidy is one of the best pro wrestlers in AEW right now. And when Orange Cassidy inevitably loses that championship, Orange Cassidy, he will be challenging MJF for the World Championship at some point in the fall. So Cassidy with a tope suicida onto Sabre and Shibata. Shibata then with a figure four. Sabre, this was probably one of my favorite moves that Sabre does. Sabre, he locks the opponent's head in between his legs and twists his legs to the side like a neck crank with the feet. I actually like that move by Sabre. Shibata, he and Garcia were mixing it up. Garcia was trying to do the dance, and Shibata just slapped the ever-living shit out of Daniel Garcia. Garcia came back with a double lariat, quadruple boots by all four men. We had a double abdominal stretch by Sabre and Shibata on Garcia and Cassidy, respectfully. All four men then decided, you know what, let's just suplex each other. And they delivered suplex after suplex to one another, one after the other. Shibata suplexed Sabre, and then Garcia suplexed Shibata, and then Cassidy suplexed Garcia, and then Sabre suplexed Cassidy, one after the other. Shibata and Garcia went at it. Shibata with a hesitation drop kick, and Cassidy and Shibata then did an Indian style. They did Indian style sitting, like CM Punk. They did Indian style sitting face to face, and they started slapping each other. They traded strikes back and forth. Cassidy with the orange punch and a beach break, but Shibata kicked out. Sabre then with a stomp right on the injured arm of Cassidy, and we had a double Fujiwara armbar by Sabre, and I actually thought that Sabre was going to become a double champion right here. Garcia came in, uppercut by Sabre, double Fujiwara again, Shibata with a sleeper, and then a boot to Garcia, a sleeper on Garcia again. Back and forth we go, back and forth counters. Garcia then slapped Sabre, Pile driver connected. PK by Shibata. I thought Shibata was going to win the championship. Cassidy bull rushed Shibata. Shibata went sailing out of the ring. And then Cassidy did a crucifix pin on Shibata to get the 1-2-3. And Orange Cassidy retains the International Championship in a great match. And once again, Orange Cassidy showcases to everyone that he is undoubtedly, perhaps, he may be the best champion in all of the industry right now. He's up there with Gunther. He's up there with MJF. He's up there. No matter how you want to look at it, he is fucking up there. He's up there with Rollins. You name it. He's up there with fucking Sonata. You name it. He's up there with Shibata. He's up there with Claudio. He's up there with Samoa Joe. Cassidy is one of the best champions in the industry right now, and it's about time that a lot of people start putting respect on his name. If you do not respect Orange Cassidy and you do not appreciate the work ethic and everything that Orange Cassidy has gone in to making this AEW International Championship reign something of substance, if you do not appreciate that, then you do not fucking deserve whatsoever. You do not deserve to call yourself a pro wrestling fan. You should stop talking about pro wrestling. Find yourself a new fucking hobby. Find yourself a new hobby. Now, who takes it off of him? I still have my reservations on Miro. And if Miro takes it off of him, I'm calling Miro at All In. I think that All In would be a perfect place for Orange Cassidy to lose that championship, and Miro would absolutely be the correct guy to do it. Obviously, this match is setting up what is going to be a great pure championship match between Shibata and Daniel Garcia. That is going to take place on July 21st at Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor. It's not confirmed yet, but it's going to happen. It will happen, trust me. Moving on here, we got ourselves the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. This is Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Sonata. This was my first time seeing Sonata. This only went about 11 minutes, but I will give credit. Sonata looks great. He's got a very nice look. He's got a lot of in-ring skill. The title looks good on him. This wasn't bad at all. This was a very good match for the 11 minutes that it went, but these two men, they were just put in a very, very tough spot. This wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, Orange Cassidy, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, he could be put in the ring with a fucking plastic mannequin. He could be put in the ring with a fucking blow-up doll, and it'll be a great match. But obviously, this match, it suffered slightly. The main thing was what happened after the match. But the match itself, it suffered a little bit because after we had a very good match with Punk and Kojima, after we had a great fatal four-way for the AEW International Championship, Jungle Boy and Sonata were put in a very, very, very tough spot. It wasn't bad at all. It was just predictable. Now, predictable's not bad. It was a very good wrestling match. But after that great fatal four-way that we saw, after that phenomenal fatal four-way that we saw, it's very, very hard for even Jack Perry. It's very, very hard for Jack Perry to come back and put on a great match. Now, it was a great match, but put on a match that's really going to get the crowd heavily invested after that. But the main thing about this match was Tony Khan continuing to push Jungle Boy and give him more opportunities, showcase to everyone that he's a main eventer. And him and Sonata, they actually matched up pretty decently together. Sonata with a nice drop kick out of the gate. Perry came in with a tope suicida. Perry was then tied up in a Rubik's ball, and Sonata with a drop kick right to the back. Perry then came in with a drop kick and a super kick. Nice comebacker lariat and a tiger driver for a 2. Sonata then with a swinging neckbreaker off the ropes. Both men then traded chops. Then they traded uppercuts. Perry went for Skull End, which is a dragon sleeper that Sonata uses as his finisher. Sonata got to the ropes. Sonata with a very nice looking TKO. Sonata's got a nice look at he's got some moves. Sonata, I will give him credit. He's got some moves. Perry was able to kick out of the TKO. Sonata went for the moonsault. He missed. Sonata went for skull end, but Jack Perry reversed it into a poison Rana. And it looked brutal. I'm telling you. Let me tell you something. There's really no way to make that poison Rana look safe. It doesn't matter who the fuck is taking it. Doesn't matter who the fuck is delivering it. There is absolutely no positive way in humanity that you can make a poison Rana look safe. I am legit surprised that we have not had an injury involved with a poison Rana that has resulted in paralysis yet. You could not listen. I think the move is great, but you could not pay me all the fucking money in the world to take a poison Rana. I'll take a body slam. I'll take a fucking elbow drop. I'll fucking take a splash off the top rope by Bronson Reed. But you could not pay me all the money in the world to take a fucking poison Rana. I will never, ever in my life, ever take a poison Rana. Not a chance. So Perry with the poison Rana. Sonata came back with a swinging vice grip. And then Sonata, I wasn't expecting this out of Sonata. Sonata didn't look like a guy that was going to do this, but he did it anyway. Sonata with a poison Rana and a very nice shining wizard. Perry kicked out. Sonata finally hit the moonsault. Decent looking moonsault by Sonata, and Sonata retains the championship. 1, 2, 3. Very good match. Very good match, but in the end, it was just put in a rough spot. Still good in the end, but if you ask me, this was probably the second weakest match on the main card. This was probably the second weakest match on the main card, and in the end, a lot of people aren't really going to be talking about it. It was a good match, but I mean, you take a look at the other shit that took place on this show, and this is ultimately going to be an afterthought. Good match, nonetheless, but ultimately it will be an afterthought. I'll tell you what's not going to be an afterthought. Hook. Hook raised Jack Perry's hand, and then all of a sudden, Perry took Hook and just clotheslined the shit out of him. He looked up to the sky, he put his hands out, and then he mockingly did the hand wave that the crowd does when Jungle Boy's theme song, Tarzan Boy, comes on. And his rage got the best of him. Jungle Boy's thirst for championship gold and his quest for gold, it turned him heel. Jungle Boy's quest for championship gold got the best of him, and he just couldn't take it anymore, and he turned heel. I was slightly shocked by it. But there's a small part of me that is actually really looking forward to heel Jack Perry. Now, there's two negatives that come with this. The two negatives that come with the Jack Perry heel turn. Number one, we're not going to hear Tarzan Boy anymore. They're going to have to change his theme song. There's no way that he's going to be able to keep Tarzan Boy and continue to go out there as a heel. That's what's going to suck, because Tarzan Boy's fucking great. Number two, the one thing that I was really looking forward to is with Luchasaurus as the TNT champion. Luchasaurus is the TNT champion. I had it in my mind that they were going to do a repeat of last year's Full Gear. They were going to kind of do a rerun of what Hangman and Omega did, because Hangman and Omega, they fought at Full Gear 2020, and then they fought next year at Full Gear 2021 for the World Championship. So I had it in my mind that they were going to follow the Hangman Omega route, because we got the steel cage match last year with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy to open up Full Gear. And then I thought that this year in 2023, we were going to see Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy for the TNT Championship. And I had that in my mind after Luchasaurus won the TNT Championship from Wardlow last weekend at Collision. So it looks like that's not going to happen either, because you can't do heel versus heel. Is he going to challenge for the FTW Championship? I don't think so. I don't really understand what sense that would make. Is he the one to beat Orange Cassidy? Maybe. Who knows? That could be interesting. Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy. I don't think we've seen that match. And that would be a rather interesting scenario to put forth. That would be a rather interesting matchup for Orange Cassidy. And if Jungle Boy is the international champion, I mean, that could be a great first title reign for Jungle Boy. If they were to transfer that credibility from Orange Cassidy to Jungle Boy, I don't know. The possibilities are very, 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 very open. The possibilities are fruitful with a heel turn for Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I'm just sad that we're not going to hear Tarzan Boy anymore, and we're not going to get a rematch between Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus for the TNT Championship this time. That's the one thing that I am a little disappointed in. But in the end, we had a very good match with Jungle Boy and Sonata, and Jungle Boy is now a heel. It's going to be rather interesting. It's going to be rather interesting, to say the least. 10-man tag. This was Eddie Kingston, Tomohiro Ishii, and the Elite. This being Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks. They took on the Blackpool Combat Club. This was Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta, teaming with Konosuke Takeshita and Shota Umino. And this came about because of the Blackpool Combat Club challenging the Elite to find two partners to take on them, Takeshita and Umino. And in the end, we got ourselves one hell of a fucking 10-man tag. Fucking awesome 10-man tag. And this match actually outdid the Fatal 4-Way. It's almost like with every passing match, every individual was trying to one-up each other. And this was a fucking great 10-man tag. So Takeshita came in, and he mixed it up with Ishii. Give me that's what I need. I need a match with Takeshita and Ishii, one-on-one. That's what I need. So the Bucks came in. Fantastic tag team work. Fantastic tag team work. We had Kingston and Moxley coming in, and the crowd legitimately all stood up and gave them a standing ovation. They didn't even touch yet. They gave them a standing ovation. They were chopping the shit out of each other. The Bucks, they came in with planchas onto the Blackpool Combat Club. Page, then with an Orihara moonsault onto the pile. Kingston and Moxley, they were still chopping the shit out of each other. Claudio came in with an uppercut. And now Kingston was on the defense. Kingston was isolated. Takeshita absolutely decked the soul out of Ishii. He fucking punched Ishii so hard, I legit thought that his soul left his body. Absolutely fucking brutal. So, after Ishii got his soul knocked out of him, Kingston then with a lariat to Claudio. Kingston and Moxley then double clotheslined each other. We had a tag to Ishii, and he lit up Shota Umino. We had a vertical suplex on Claudio. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome. This is awesome." We had a knee by Umino. Modified power bomb, reverse DDT combo. German suplex by Ishii on Moxley. Tag to Page. He went at Takeshita. Rolling elbow in midair. Fall away slam. Pescado on Yuta. The Bucks then held Takeshita. And we had a running shooting star press off the apron by Hangman to Takeshita. Flying tomahawk chop for a 2. Bucks came in. BTE trigger was reversed. And then Takeshita double German suplex the Bucks. This is a guy that wrote his thesis in college on the German suplex, and he got a fucking A. So if anyone knows the German suplex, it's Konosuke Takeshita. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. Double suplex on the Bucks by Takeshita. Bucks recovered. Double super kicks to Claudio. Double super kicks to Takeshita. Double super kicks to Yuta. We had a Blue Thunder Bomb by Takeshita on Matt Jackson for a 2. Cradle Tombstone. deadlift German, and then a bridging German by Yuta. Absolutely phenomenal transition. Paige saved the match. We had a heart attack, the giant swing, and then Yuta stopped the swing after about 13 revolutions with a drop kick. Tag to Ishii. Ishii and Yuta were up top. Avalanche superplex. Yuta kicked out. Kingston then went after Claudio. Obviously setting up the match that we will see at Death Before Dishonor with Kingston and Claudio. Everyone started taking out everyone. Super kick party by the Bucks. German suplex by Yuta on Paige. A big lariat by Ishii. And then a big sheer drop brainbuster right on the neck and shoulders. And Ishii wins the match for his team as Ishii, Kingston, and the Elite take the victory in what was a fucking awesome 10-man tag. Awesome stuff. And I didn't think that match could be topped. And then we got what we got with fucking Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, which we will get into in just a little bit. But I actually had this the other way. I actually had the Blackpool Combat Club winning this match. Now, in the end, the match could have swung either way, but I actually had them winning the match because then it would have set up Blood and Guts, in which the Elite would have ultimately gotten their big revenge. But in the end, Ishii helped the Elite and Eddie Kingston get the win. I'm assuming that this is going to set up Death Before Dishonor. And reportedly, according to Fightful, AEW Blood and Guts will take place in Boston, Massachusetts on July 19th. July 19th, Blood and Guts from the TD Garden. And that could be the ultimate end to the Blackpool Combat Club and Elite feud. And I have absolutely no issue with that. I'm actually glad that it's in July. Give it a little bit of time to breathe, considering that you're just coming off of Forbidden Door. I like that. I like how they've been mapping out their shows. Double or Nothing in May, Forbidden Door in June, Blood and Guts in July, All In and All Out at the end of August, beginning of September. I like how they're mapping that out. I like it. It's very solid. Very solid. I have no complaints about that whatsoever. It's fine. No complaints at all. That's how it should be. Map it out correctly. Map it out and space shit out. Let shit breathe. But I had the Blackpool Combat Club winning it. Now, there's a small part of me that still would have given it to the Blackpool Combat Club, but I can't really complain after a great match like we saw. Fucking awesome 10-man tag. I'll tell you who else is awesome. Willow Nightingale. Who would have thought, out of everyone this year, Willow Nightingale was going to be one of the breakout stars? It's Willow Nightingale and Sky Blue. Those two women are the top tier breakout stars of 2023. Willow, great fucking match with Athena earlier this year. Willow now is the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion. She beat Mercedes Moné, regardless of whether or not they had to change the outcome. She beat Mercedes Moné. She's the first ever New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion. She's in the semifinals in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. She could end up winning the Owen Hart Cup tournament. And now she's fighting on Forbidden Door in a match against Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. And it was a very good match. Every single passing match, Willow is just getting better and better and better. Who would have thought? And Willow Nightingale, she is not afraid. Listen, she's a smiley baby face. She likes to go in there and have fun. But when that fucking bell rings, Willow Nightingale is all fucking business. She may very well be the best babyface women's wrestler that we have right now. She doesn't smile. She doesn't do a lot of ha-ha, hee-hee laughing jokes. She goes in there, and when that bell rings, the smile goes away. She goes in there, and she fucking wrestles like we know a women's wrestler should wrestle like. That right there earns respect. That right there deserves praise. And Willow Nightingale, I'm telling you right now, I can't really see it happening, but if there's one woman that you could build up to take the championship off of Athena, I think that Willow Nightingale would be a great, and I mean a great fucking candidate to take the women's championship off of Athena. Because Athena's at the top of her fucking game right now. Athena is doing God's work. But Willow Nightingale, with how much momentum she has been gaining for herself, even in defeats, with how much momentum she has been gaining for herself, Willow Nightingale would absolutely be a great contender to take the title off Athena. Do I think it's going to happen at Death Before Dishonor? I don't know. Me being the greedy son of a bitch I am, I want Athena to hold the championship over a year because that's just how good Athena really is. But I mean, if we're going to get Athena losing the Ring of Honor Women's Championship to Willow Nightingale, if we get Athena on AEW TV, I mean, if you want yourself a huge, big-time matchup for Chris Statlander and the TBS Championship, Athena would be a picture-perfect individual to take the TBS Championship off of Chris Statlander after Statlander's had a solid reign with it. So I would not mind that whatsoever. I think that would be a great, and I mean a great fucking plan. If you want to get the title off of Athena and then put her on AEW television and then have her fight Chris Statlander after Statlander's held it for a solid amount of time, I got absolutely no fucking issue with that. No issue whatsoever with that one right there. So, the crowd has actually been very receptive towards Willow, and I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy that Willow's getting over on her own. She's being put in scenarios to go in there and wrestle, and the crowd is appreciating her. And the more the crowd appreciates an individual, the better it is. So Willow came in with a shotgun drop kick. Willow then took out the Outcasts too. Storm came in with a hip attack. The Outcasts then attacked Willow behind the ref's back. Storm was in firm control. Willow came in with a very nice Samoan drop. Willow mounted a comeback. Both women were on the apron. Willow delivered a Death Valley driver to Toni Storm on the apron, which looked awesome. Death Valley driver then in the ring. Toni kicked out. The Outcasts tried to throw a spray paint can into the ring at Toni Storm, and the ref caught him. The ref ejected the Outcasts. So now Toni was all by herself. So Willow then with a big lariat, she went for the moonsault, but she missed. Storm with a DDT, a big hip attack, and a DDT again. Willow kicked out. Willow then with a spine buster and an Indian deathlock. It was cinched in. Toni Storm was able to get out. She would not quit. She then bit Willow's knee to get out of it. Toni went for the hip attack. Willow with the pounce back into the ring. We had a big splash and clotheslines in the corner. Storm then raked the eyes of Willow. And then Storm hit Storm Zero, spiking Willow into the mat. And Storm gets the win over Willow Nightingale. Storm retains the championship as she should. 2 title defenses in a row, and Toni Storm puts on 2 very good matches with Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale. And if you ask me, if Thunder Rosa's ready to come back, I think Thunder Rosa would be a great interim opponent before Jamie Hayter inevitably comes back. And then Jamie Hayter, she could be the woman to take the title off of Toni Storm at Wembley Stadium, at All In. We'll have to wait and see, but this was a very good match for what it was. Went about 10 minutes, and both women brought it. Willow Nightingale's having one hell of a year. And Toni Storm's fucking great. Toni Storm's fucking awesome, and I'm very, very happy that Toni Storm is being treated with the proper reverence and respect that she should have been treated with when she came over from NXT to the main roster on WWE television. The fact that she wasn't treated with the reverence that we know she should be treated with, that shit really fucking pissed me off. Getting fucking pies in the face by Charlotte Flair. Now look at Toni Storm. Toni Storm's on top of the fucking world right now, putting on bangers with everyone. And she's on TV every week with the Outcasts. Love it. Love it. Holy shit. Will Ospreay Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, IWGP United States Championship. I don't know if there is human words that I could utter to you that could describe what we saw. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I am going to be battling all fucking year. From now until the end of the year, when I do my year-end LFU and we do the top 10 matches of 2023. This match gave you every fucking reason in the book. Every fucking reason in the book as to why it should be at the top of everyone's list for best match of 2023. No match is ever perfect. No match is ever perfect. The only match, to me at least, the only match to me that was ever perfect was Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, WrestleMania 25 back in Houston, Texas, I believe, in 2009. April 5th, 2009, 3 days after my birthday. Michaels, Undertaker, Part 1 at WrestleMania. And even then, that match had some flaws. That will always be the greatest matchup of all time for me. But holy shit. Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega wrestled nearly a perfect match. Everything from the crowd, the emotion that just seeped off of the television screens or the mobile devices, not even just from the crowd, but from Omega and Ospreay as well. And the facial expressions and the selling that was done in that match. When Kenny Omega got his foot on the rope after the Stormbreaker by Will Ospreay, and Will Ospreay, with fucking blood dripping down his face, had this look on him like, are you fucking serious? This fucking guy got his foot on the rope. What the fuck do I have to do to put him away? Neither one of them would go down. They refused to die. Everything that went into this match, the vibe, the setting, the emotion, this is probably the biggest thing of them all. It's easy. It's easy to go out there and put on a spot fest. It's easy to go out there and do all these high spots and these flips and these big moves off the top rope. Not to say that it's bad. I mean, if Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay did that, I would have praised it just as much because it's Kenny Omega and Will fucking Ospreay. But Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, they went in there and they shut up a lot of people who constantly say, oh, these guys can't tell stories. It's all about the high spots and the flips and the dives and all this fucking bullshit, all this retardation coming from all these peoples that are stuck in the 80s and that they're living in the days of the fucking Ultimate Warrior and the fucking Junkyard Dog and fucking Duke the Dumpster Drozy and the fucking head shrinkers and the fucking headbangers and all these fucking old timers and Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and fucking Macho Man Randy Savage, and they fucking refuse to move on and evolve with the times, and they refuse to acknowledge the fact that this is the best era of pro wrestling that we've had because of how much talent that we have when that bell rings. These fucking old-timers that shouldn't be talking about pro wrestling, that shouldn't even have a fucking platform to express their opinion, which is not even an opinion at all, it's just retardation. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay's match was not built around the wrestling. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay's match was built around story. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay's match was built around story. The story of what Kenny Omega did to Will Ospreay in the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom, winning the IWGP United States Championship, leaving Will Ospreay covered in a pool of his own blood. Covered in a pool of his own blood. And Will Ospreay coming back for revenge. Will Ospreay going into enemy territory. Enemy territory against Omega. Canada fully behind Omega because he's from Canada. Kenny Omega going in there, the hometown hero. Don Callis inserting himself into the mix. And after everything that these two did, just the selling and the facial expressions and the story going into this match, some people said that this should have main evented, and you know what? You're right. This should have absolutely main evented the show. This match should have absolutely main evented the show. There's no reason why it shouldn't have. No reason why it shouldn't have. Not to say that Bryan and Okada was bad, but at the end of the day, if you compare it to Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, I mean, they delivered the match of the fucking century at that rate. They delivered the match of the fucking century. Absolutely spectacular. A spectacle to behold, and absolutely fucking, it was bone-chilling. It was absolutely fucking bone-chilling. So the crowd, absolutely fucking electric. Very slow, very technical early on. This was what I was saying, the story being told. Omega with the You Can't Escape moonsault. Ospreay with a tope suicida. Omega was caught with a spinning backbreaker. Very evenly matched early on. Ospreay then hung Kenny Omega out to dry on the ropes. Ospreay with a shooting star press onto the back of Omega. Ospreay then with an Oz cutter on the apron. And then after they got those two high spots out of the way, they started to slow it down again. Ospreay smashed Omega's head into the table. Very similar to what Omega did at Wrestle Kingdom. Crowd booed heavily. Omega was bleeding. Omega was then driven into the table lid and it snapped. It fucking snapped. Absolutely snapped in half. Ospreay then had Omega's blood on his arm. He licked Omega's blood off of his fucking arm and then looked at the camera and said, "Yum." I mean, who fucking does that shit? Who fucking does that shit? Will fucking Ospreay does that shit. So the crowd was chanting, "You sick fuck, you sick fuck." Crowd chanting, "You sick fuck." Omega fought back. Ospreay shut him down. Ospreay with a V-trigger on Omega. Ospreay then took a Canadian flag and he cleaned his fucking crotch with it. He did, if you guys remember SpongeBob from back in the day when Mr. Krabs won his fucking $1 millionth dollar, he had it going through his fucking pelvic region. That's exactly what Ospreay did. So then Omega, then with a lariat, turning Ospreay inside out, he then took Ospreay by the neck with the flag and bealed him with the flag, hung him over the rope and used the flag as a fucking noose. V-trigger against the barricade. Omega then dribbled Ospreay's head off the steel steps and Ospreay was busted open, bleeding like a stuck pig. His blood was all over the steps. Omega then was on the top of the steel steps. He put the steps long ways. Steps were on long ways, and Kenny Omega, with the steps long ways, does a fucking DDT on the steps long ways. Ospreay in a pool of his own fucking blood. The crowd chanting "Fight Forever." Ospreay powered Omega up into a powerbomb. Big German suplex by Omega. German by Ospreay. V-trigger by Omega. Spanish fly by Ospreay for a 2. Ospreay then, like a fucking prick, the fucking prick that Ospreay is, locks in a sharpshooter on Omega. Will then transitioned into a crossface. Omega got out of it. Ospreay was just toying with Omega. Omega just didn't have the energy. We had a big roundhouse kick and a big super kick. Ospreay went for the Oz cutter. And both men were down because Omega caught Ospreay with a knee right to the back in midair on the Oz Cutter. So we had that big knee in midair, Snapdragon by Omega, V-trigger to the back, Poison Rana, and a spike pile driver. Ospreay kicked out again. We had a cross-legged knee drop brainbuster, Omega with a V-trigger. Both men were up top. Ospreay trapped Omega's head in the buckle, delivered a super kick, and then a corkscrew moonsault to the floor. Big flying forearm to the back. Ospreay went for the hidden blade, but he missed it. Omega with a V-trigger. Ospreay with a roll-through Liger Bomb. Liger Bomb connects. Top rope. Ospreay with a beautiful Oz Cutter. Omega barely kicked out, just barely rolled his shoulder up. Omega then with a Deadeye in tribute to Adam Page. Don Callis then came out. Don Callis, who was actually ejected earlier on in the match. Crowd was chanting "piece of shit" at Don Callis. Omega hit Ospreay with not one, not two, but 3 fucking knees. Callis then begged Omega not to do it. Omega did it anyway. Big fucking knee. The referee was trying to separate Don Callis from Ospreay. Ospreay was given the screwdriver, the same screwdriver that Don Callis stabbed Omega with. And Kenny Omega was stabbed right in the head with the screwdriver. We had the hidden blade connecting by Will Ospreay. And then Will Ospreay with one of my favorite finishers in all of pro wrestling today, the Stormbreaker. 1, 2, Omega got his foot on the rope. Crowd absolutely fucking exploded. Ospreay had this look on his face like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I just hit this man with a fucking screwdriver. I hit him with a hidden blade. I hit him with a fucking Stormbreaker. And this motherfucker puts his foot on the rope. His eyes were fucking pulsing out of his head. Will Ospreay. So after that, Ospreay delivers a one-winged angel. He delivers a fucking one-winged angel to Kenny Omega. Kenny kicked out at 1. Crowd exploded again. They traded strikes back and forth. Big knee, super kick, brainbuster. Omega hit Christ's Wrath. Ospreay kicked out. V-trigger. But, as he went for the V-trigger, Ospreay caught him with the hidden blade. Tiger Driver 91. Omega dropped right on his head and neck off the Tiger Driver 91. I legit thought Omega was fucking paralyzed. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. I thought Omega was dead. Omega got out again. Ospreay says, fuck this. Hidden blade. Stormbreaker. Will Ospreay with the 1, 2, 3. And Will Ospreay is your new IWGP United States Champion in what was easily one of the top 3 best matches of the year. And it could very well be number 1. It could very well be number 1. The story, the emotion, the vibe, everything that was poured into that match. It is something that will never, ever be seen again for a long time. It is a rarity. That match right there was the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Usos storyline coming to fruition. Now, the build obviously wasn't as great as Sami and KO versus the Usos. Let's be real here. But if we're going based on the story told in the ring, especially the story that Sami and Kevin and the Usos told into the ring, this match was up there. Absolutely fucking spectacular, fucking unreal, a sight to behold. And if this is not on your top 3 best matches of the year, I'll say it once, I'll say it again, you should not be talking about pro wrestling. You should not be talking about pro wrestling, and you should not be doing anything, nothing whatsoever that is associated with the word pro wrestling, the term pro wrestling, the sport pro wrestling, no matter what it may be. This match, absolutely fucking unbelievable. A spectacle. bone-chilling spectacle. Whatever fucking adjectives that I could come up with, I don't even have any more words to describe it. Speechless. Absolutely fucking speechless. You can't, you say just nothing. You just, that's it. I don't think anything's topping that. It may have been better than MJF, Bryan Danielson, in the Iron Man match. It may have been better. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. From there, we go into what was a six-man tag team match between Tetsuya Naito, Sting, and Darby Allin. They took on Minoru Suzuki, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara. This actually surprised me. And to be quite honest with you, I was actually very disappointed to this. I was actually very disappointed when it comes to this. And it's not because the match was horrible. There were a couple of slip-ups here and there, but the match wasn't horrible. But let's be real here. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to top what Ospreay and Omega did. There was not a chance that this match stood any chance at even holding one 1/100th of a candle to what Ospreay and Omega did. And all this match pretty much was, this match was done for no other reason than to help advance the storyline with Sammy and Jericho, and we kind of all know where that's heading. I don't want to say it was horrible, but there were a couple of missteps in this, and ultimately, this will probably go down as the worst match of the night. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that a match with Jericho, Sammy, Naito, Suzuki, Sting, and Darby Allin, who thought that a match with those guys would end up being the worst match of the night? So Sammy and Naito started off the match. Naito came out looking like a mafia boss. Suzuki and Darby mixed it up a bit. Sting came in, tagged to Jericho, crowd popped. Sting with a scorpion death lock. Guevara with a cutter onto Sting, and it did not look all that good. Very awkward landing. Darby was then called with a Spanish fly by Sammy for a 2. Naito mixed it up with Jericho with a Hurricane Rana and a nice swinging neck breaker. Sleeper holds for everyone. Tope Suicida on Suzuki. Jericho caught Darby with a Judas effect. Chris then put Sting on the table, and he told Sammy to do a 630 through the table. Sting, according to Brian Alvarez, was supposed to get off the table. He didn't get off the table, and Sting ended up taking the table bump with Darby Allin. Sting got back up. Naito tried for Destino. Jericho with the walls. Sting came in. Suzuki with a sleeper. Codebreaker on Naito. Naito kicked out. Sting and Naito worked together. Suzuki was rolled up by Naito, and in a very, very rushed ending, very, very anticlimactic ending, Sting and Naito worked together on Suzuki, and Naito rolled up Suzuki for the win. Afterwards, Jericho attacked Naito. Sting took the bat, and Chris ran off, and we got ourselves a Tornado tag team match with Sting, Jericho, Sammy, and Darby. That is going down this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, and we will see Les Sex Gods take on Sting and Darby Allin. Not really sure what's going to happen there, but I'm assuming that this match was made because they want to redeem themselves, because this match obviously did not live up to any expectations whatsoever, and things didn't work out all too well in the end. Things didn't really work out all too well, and ultimately they want to redeem themselves. But this was probably the worst match of the night. A couple of missteps here and there. Was not the cleanest match whatsoever, and the ending, very anticlimactic. Very, 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 very anticlimactic. And again, there was no way that it was going to even hold a candle, even a slight ember. There wasn't a chance that it was even going to hold an ash to what Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega did. Not a fucking chance. Not a fucking chance. Now, what's going to happen on Wednesday? I don't know. Could we possibly see Sammy get kicked out of the Jericho Appreciation Society? Are we going to get on the road towards Jericho and Sammy at All In? Are they going to give Sammy a big moment in front of 66,000+ fans, 70,000+ fans? Would be interesting. Would be interesting to say the least. Just throwing it out there. Not that good of a match. Not that good of a match. I was expecting a bit more. Main event. Main event. Even this match suffered because of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Still a great wrestling match, but it definitely suffered. We got ourselves Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, versus the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Now, we saw what was going to happen. We saw what was going to happen regarding the theme song of Bryan Danielson, because there were reports going around saying that Joey Tempest, who is the lead singer of the band Europe, he may have been reaching a deal with some sort of record label, I believe, where people will be able to use the Final Countdown for entertainment, wrestling, and media purposes. I don't know. I didn't really think too much of it. I didn't think that he was going to get it that fast. But as soon as I heard that first note, and as soon as the crowd heard the first note, the crowd fucking popped, absolutely exploded. I had goosebumps. I'm having fucking goosebumps right now just talking about it. Bryan Danielson came out to the Final Countdown, leaving together, but still it's farewell. Maybe we'll come back to Earth, who can tell? And then you heard the chorus, and everyone in the arena screaming, it's the Final Countdown. Bone chilling. Again, bone chilling. Bone chilling. We as pro wrestling fans are spoiled. So Kazuchika Okada came out, and the crowd was actually behind Bryan here in the beginning. Crowd was chanting, "You're going to get your fucking head kicked in." And that's exactly what happened later on in the match. Okada, with a nice back elbow. Bryan was then sent into the barricade over and over. Bryan then with a wrecking ball drop kick, flying knee off the apron. Danielson targeted the right arm of Okada. Bryan with cattle mutilation. And then he rolled through with some kicks and chops. Okada wanted more. He was yelling at Bryan. He wanted more. Okada then delivered a flapjack. And then a DDT connected for a 2. Okada drop-kicked Bryan off the top turnbuckle. Okada then dove over the barricade onto Bryan into the crowd with a crossbody. He was in firm control. He hit an air raid crash neck breaker for a 2. Bryan then came back with a missile dropkick off the top. Bryan and Okada traded strikes and punches. Shotgun dropkick by Okada. Nice German by Bryan. Bryan with a running dropkicks in the corner. Okada came back with one of the best dropkicks in the game. It's Okada and it's Randy Orton. Okada and Randy Orton are up there as the individuals with the best dropkicks in the game. Okada's dropkick is fucking flawless. So Okada with the dropkick, Rainmaker was dodged, and Okada delivered another dropkick right to the face. Okada went up to the top. We had an elbow drop reversed. Sitting Fujiwara armbar by Bryan. Okada got to the ropes. Bryan with a suicide dive, but Okada caught him. Rainmaker missed. Bryan with a shotgun drop kick. Bryan with the yes kicks. On the outside. Bryan went for a big kick. Okada caught him and delivered a tombstone pile driver to Bryan on the ramp. Okada then back in the ring, a beautiful diving elbow drop. He went for the Rainmaker, but Bryan wasn't moving. Doc Samson actually had to check on Bryan because Bryan was convulsing. Bryan baited Okada in and delivered a Busaiku knee. Bryan with another Busaiku knee. Okada kicked out. Bryan went to kick Okada's head in, but Okada fought back. Bryan with a roundhouse kick. Yes chance. Another drop kick by Okada. Michinoku driver by Okada. The Rainmaker connects. Bryan Danielson kicked out. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome. This is awesome." Back and forth counter we go. Bryan with the label lock. His arm was injured. Later we found out that he suffered a fracture and he'll be out 6 to 8 weeks. Bryan could not get it fully locked in, so instead, Bryan locked in a double Fujiwara armbar, and Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, yes, Kazuchika Okada, tapped out. Okada tapped out. The crowd was in fucking shock. Now, I actually had this all wrong. I actually thought that Okada was going to take it. And the reason being is because when Bryan came into AEW, Bryan Danielson only wanted one thing and one thing only. He didn't want to win any championships. He didn't want to be the face of the company. He didn't want to take up a spot from any of the younger people. He didn't even want to be featured on TV as consistently as he has been. The only thing that Bryan Danielson wanted to do in his post-WWE run is wrestle. That's all he wants. Bryan doesn't care if he wins. Bryan doesn't care if he loses. Bryan doesn't care who he fights. Bryan doesn't care who he doesn't fight. All Bryan wanted to do was wrestle. And this was the match that Bryan has wanted for years. All Bryan wanted to do was wrestle. So, with that in my mind, I thought to myself, Bryan doesn't give a shit if he wins. He's absolutely going to put over Okada. I was talking to my friend Travis, and he was telling me that he actually had Bryan winning this match because they're going to build towards a match in Japan, probably in the Tokyo Dome at a Wrestle Kingdom. And I thought to myself, you know what? Yeah, I get what you're saying, but wouldn't it be better if Okada won here and then Bryan won the second match in the Tokyo Dome, potentially at Wrestle Kingdom? Because at the end of the day, wouldn't Bryan beating Okada in Japan be a lot bigger? That was just my line of thinking. Now, granted, this match could have swung either way. I wouldn't have minded no matter who came out victorious. It could have been Bryan, it could have been Okada. I didn't mind. I didn't mind at all. But I mean, I don't think anyone expected Bryan to tap out Okada. I don't think anybody expected Bryan Danielson, of all fucking people, to tap out Okada. If he were to pin him, maybe I would have been a little bit more prone to believing, okay, that makes more sense. That's actually a little bit more believable. But to my knowledge, I don't think I've ever seen Kazuchika Okada tap out. And if Kazuchika Okada was going to lose via submission, I mean, I would have probably expected him to at least pass out. I was not expecting Kazuchika Okada to tap out whatsoever. That was probably like, forget about Cody losing to Roman at WrestleMania. That, to me, is one of the biggest shockers of the year. I think a lot of people called Bryan to win. I don't think they called him to win via tap out. But that right there, that's going to fuel the energy for what's going to happen at some point in Japan, because this isn't going to be a one-and-done thing. It's not. This can't be a one-and-done thing. It would be foolish to think that this is going to be a one-and-done thing. We will indeed see Bryan and Okada Part 2. When? I don't know. I mean, if it was up to me, I would like to see it at All In. That's just me. I would like to see that at All In. Thank you very much. But, you know, that's just me. That's just my personal take right there. And if we're going to talk about All In as well, I mean, you may as well give us Omega Ospreay Part 3 at All In, because Omega Ospreay is actually turning into the FTR Briscoes rivalry of 2023. I'm just throwing that out there for you. I'm just throwing it out there for you. But listen, in the end, it was a great wrestling match. It was a great wrestling match. It was a great main event. But in the end, it did feel a little flat. And that's not on them. That's not on them whatsoever. That's merely because Ospreay and Omega was just so fucking good that it was going to be legitimately impossible for anyone to topple what they did. Omega and Ospreay put on a match that is absolutely fucking untouchable. We're going to have a lot of great matches throughout the course of 2023. Trust me on that. But in no way, shape, or form are you going to fucking tell me that match with Ospreay and Omega, that's going to be topped. It's not. It's not. No way. No fucking way. Still a great main event. Still a great main event nonetheless. And I'm very, very proud to have watched it. It just felt a little flat because of what we got with Omega and Ospreay. But all in all, Forbidden Door could very well go down as the best show of the entire year. And it's crazy. It really is crazy how people just continue to discredit Tony Khan. Tony Khan clearly isn't perfect. Tony Khan clearly has got a lot of things he needs to work on. And April and May weren't necessarily great months for AEW television. But I mean, you take a look at Tony Khan's name, and under Tony Khan's name, AEW Revolution 2023 and Forbidden Door 2023. Those two shows under Tony Khan's name, at the end of the day, will be numbers 1 and 2 for the top 2 best shows of 2023. Whichever one you like better, you can take your pick. But Forbidden Door 2023, Forbidden Door 2022 was fucking awesome. Forbidden Door 2023, this blew last year's Forbidden Door out of the water. And I'm legitimately, I'm so privileged to know that we are able to experience something like that. Imagine if WWE wasn't such a bunch of fucking egomaniacal, manipulative fucks. Can you imagine if WWE actually put their fucking ego aside and stopped being pricks? Can you imagine if WWE stopped being dickwads and they decided to do business? Can you imagine New Japan, AEW, and WWE all under one roof for one show only? Can you imagine how great that would be? More and more and more, I watch Forbidden Door and I watch these scenarios of worlds colliding, and I think to myself, man, WWE could really have benefited from this. It would have benefited WWE, it would have benefited AEW, would have benefited New Japan. All we want as pro wrestling fans is for pro wrestling to succeed. It's almost like the more AEW goes on, they do things in the realm of pro wrestling that make us want to see them succeed. And as WWE goes on and on and on, they do things in the realm of pro wrestling that make the people want to see them fail. It's quite shocking, if you ask me. Really is. But Forbidden Door, minus a match or two here and there, and minus the fact that the crowd was pretty much taken out of it after what Omega and Ospreay did, in the end, easily will go down as one of the top 2 best shows of the entire year, up there with AEW Revolution. Absolutely fucking spectacular. And I don't think anything is going to top Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all. Thank you all for joining me here on this Monday afternoon. You guys are great. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. The support and the outpouring of love. It is always great that you would take time out of your day to watch this dashing asshole from New Jersey. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of The Rewind. Thank you to Dylan. Thank you to Dee Dee. Thank you to Billy. Thank you to Sarah Hapka. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. You guys were fucking awesome. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description of this very video. It is very, very vital that you do so. Please make sure that you set your notifications for Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the rundown for Money in the Bank with my main man, Lil Stevie. Please make sure you set your calendar dates for Sunday for the rundown for Money in the Bank, Rewind. Rundown's on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Rewind for Money in the Bank is on Sunday, July 2nd, 2 p.m. Eastern Time with my man, Mac the Giants fan. So we got Lil Stevie on Thursday, and we got Mac the Giants fan on Sunday. Plenty of more material to come to you guys. Next Friday, July 7th, we got ourselves one big show. We got ourselves ISPW Stars, Stripes, and Slams. Big show going down. We got the new back seats. They're going to be challenging the Now for the ISPW Tag Team Championships. We also got the Shining Star Ray Calitri fighting Justin Carino. Not Justin Carino. I don't know why I said Justin Carino. Ray Calitri, he fought Justin Carino at the last two events in West Milford. ISPW Stars, Stripes, and Slams, he will be fighting GKM for the Tri-State title. And might I also mention, Ray Calitri's got that golden ticket briefcase. He can cash in for a world title match at any time he wants. So we got ourselves Tri-State title match, GKM Ray Calitri, new back seats, and the Now for the tag team titles. We got ourselves MLW's Richard Holiday. He's taking a stop by ISPW to fight Crowbar. That's going to be a damn good match. And we got ourselves the main event, which is Rick Recon and Bull James in a dog collar match. They will finally end the rivalry. Winner walks out with the ISPW World Heavyweight Championship. But until then, I'm DJ Storms. This has been The Rewind. But before we get out of here, a very important, vital question that all must answer, ladies and gentlemen. Who runs the IWC? And I think everyone here knows the answer. I mean, if you don't, I think you might want to get out of the stream because the answer is on my wristband, as you see right here. The answer is who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you forget it.
'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.